Hey everybody, my name is Brian, this is my channel. Behind me is my 1973 Moto Guzzi Eldorado. I've been working on this for, I don't know, about 10 videos now, something like that. In this video, we're going to work on the fuel system, and at the end, I promise you, we're going to go for a ride. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And also turn on your notifications so you can get more riveting content like this. So, I think I showed earlier how rusty this tank is. It's not going to show up very well, but yeah, it looks bad. So I have this little USB bore scope. I know it's like camera on camera, but I can go down inside and confirm that it's rusty. The bottom actually looks like it's, I don't know how well it's going to show up. It's slightly shiny, but obviously it needs coated. I've ordered a tank sealing kit, the same thing I used in the Porsche, but to get a head start on it, I'm going to try some Evaporust in there and try to get some of that rust out of there before I do the tank kit. Figured I would dump it in and then just turn it on sides in various locations and let it eat on the rust a little bit. To seal it up, I went to Lowe's and found some rubber plugs. Because I don't know, that's going to be some metric thread. I'm not, more than likely I'd have to make something to plug that. So I'm going to try these rubber plugs, and they kind of screw in. Because I'm going to need something when I do the sealing process to plug them anyway. And then a 2-inch pipe cap pretty much fits perfect on the filler neck. And apparently with this Evaporust you can keep reusing it too, so we'll see what happens. I likely could have got a bigger jug, but this thing was like 10 bucks, so I don't want to invest a whole lot in something that I'm not real sure about. It looked like the plugs were holding, so we'll just let that sit and eat for a little while. See how our Evaporust pre-treatment went. I'm gonna go ahead and dump it and save it for future use. See what kind of chunks we get out of it. Yeah, I wasn't sure that was going to come out over the filler neck. So we will pull one of these plugs out. Alright, now I'll go rinse it out. There's some pretty chunky stuff in there. And I recovered a good bit of it, so I can use that for another project. So I think the weather's finally warmed up enough. We can work on sealing this. I have a KBS cycle tank sealer kit. It's the same brand I used on my Porsche, and it seemed to be fine. First we will do with the kit the cleaning solution. So it calls for 1 part of this and 1 part of hot water. Oops, shake well before using. Now I'll go fill this with hot water. I took a piece of the chain I used in the Porsche tank, cut it in about a half, we'll add that to it. And we'll hope we can get it out when we're done. Now throughout the day I'll come back and move this in various positions and shake it some more. I spent a good portion of the day rolling this thing around with the chain in it and letting it sit in various positions. So let's see how he made out. So it did something. Now to rinse. The plugs back in and fill it all the way up. Oh, that's heavy. Now I guess we need to see if that chain will come out of there. Not really sure which side it's on. That's a little cleaner too. So according to the directions, when you let this dry completely, and then we go to the next step. So I'll let that dry overnight. So this tank is dried overnight. Next step is pouring in the rust blast, and this will etch the metal that we've removed the sludge from. It says to pour this in full strength. Danger, contains phosphoric acid. don't get it on your paint. Hate to ruin the paint. Cap it off. So we need to roll the tank around and make sure everything in there gets wetted with this stuff. So we need to keep this wet and roll it every couple minutes to a different position to make sure it stays wetted and etches everything. So to do this for up to an hour, we'll start upside down. We'll try that. There we go. So I just knocked the plug out of this. Anyway, I've been shaking this around for probably an hour in different positions. So now we'll dump all this etch out of here. Doesn't smell very good. Whew. It's definitely acid. Looks way cleaner in there, so now we need to rinse it. Let that drain, and then it needs to dry completely. So now while the tank dries, I have a bucket of phosphoric acid I need to get rid of. So with the help of Google, because I don't really remember chemistry from like 25 years ago, we're going to neutralize it with some baking soda. Oh, she foamed up. Guess that's the neutralization going on. So I'll let that sit there and react for a little bit. And then we'll get ready to coat the tank. I've set it on top of my kerosene heater, and steam and all kinds of stuff went on. So I think it's dry finally. Next we need to take the can of sealer and stir it up thoroughly, because based on my experience when I did my Porsche tank, the bottom of that's going to be pretty solid, and we'll need to get all that dispersed in there. This kit comes with some gloves, a stir stick, a little paintbrush. I'm not sure we're going to need that. We'll use the gloves if they fit. A lot of times my hands are too big for these kind of things that are supplied. This isn't too thick on the bottom, must not be that old, so I'll stir this for a little bit. The directions say not to shake this because you'll get air bubbles in it, so we'll just keep stirring until it maybe looks all silver. I'm not sure it's ever going to look any different than that at this point. So this appears to be an electric motorcycle. Anyway, see if we can get this in here without making a huge mess. I do have the stoppers in the bottom. This kit said it would treat up to a 5-gallon tank. I think this tank might actually be a little larger than 5 gallons, but we'll just try to do our best to stretch it. That's all I'm going to get. All right. Same deal as before. Cap it off. you want to start rotating that thing, rotating the tank to try to get that to cover every square inch of the inside. So, based on how this tank is U-shaped, we need to make sure we spend equal amount of time on each side to try to get it. If you're not careful, I guess you can treat all one side and miss the other. So we'll do this for a while. I've been sloshing this around for about 20 minutes, trying to distribute everything. Don't know if this will show up at all, but from what I can see, it's covered. First time around, I didn't have anything up into the filler neck, but it looks like all that's covered now. I'll put the cap back on and I'll keep on rolling that around for the next few minutes. I don't think I can get it too thick. It said to drain out excess when you're done. Don't think there's going to be any at this point. So I've been rolling this thing around for about 45 minutes to an hour. Feel like we're pretty much covered. So I want to drain the excess. Based on the shape of this thing though, that's going to be hard to get it to go down to there. So I think I'll drain it through the filler neck. Likely it'll help coat the rest of the inside of that too, even if there's any excess in there. There may not be. And built a little pressure in there too. I don't know how well that's going to show up, but it looks pretty well coated. It did get all inside the filler neck. So let me see if I can rig something up here and just turn it upside down in that box and let it drain out the filler neck that way. Next up, I guess we can clean these carburetors out. That's how I did the other one. Just take the slide out. That's all there is to that. Looks as though this had some other stuff going on here, like some kind of choke or something. Apparently that's all been deleted too. There's nothing down in there. So we'll go to the bench and we'll pull this apart and clean it out. I may have already said this before, but this is equipped with amyl carburetors, which I guess happened because the Del Orto factory went on strike sometime in 72, 73. They couldn't get carburetors, so they used amyl carburetors. I guess this is somewhat undesirable because you'd rather have Del Ortos, but in this case it is what it is. This is just a plug that'll come out, maybe. Probably need a bigger screwdriver. There it goes. That thing's actually plastic. There we go. There's the float and the needle. So all that's plastic. And there's the jet. That's pretty nasty in there too. I'm going to stick this bowl back on here temporarily so we can get this fitting out. Oh, that's pretty gross too. So that'll require require some scrubbing also. I think I got it fairly clean. That passage there was completely blocked with red crusty mud. Can't get any more of that out of there, but it's just kind of chalky stuff. I think it'll be all right. The jet assembly, let's see if we can pull that apart. I would assume I would be able to see through that. I can see a little bit, but I don't think that's clear. So this banjo fitting attaches, cleaned all that out, but this fuel line is completely petrified. See if we can get this thing off here. That's how hard that is, so I'm going to keep working on that. Leave that a little loose because I'm not sure which direction that's going to have to clock once it's on the bike. It should drop right down through that jet holder. Which for some reason it's not wanting to do. There it went. So at this point, I guess we're ready for the fuel tank and fixing up some fuel hoses. Cleaned up these petcocks and blew them out. I honestly don't remember which side they came off of. So the reserve, I'm going to go ahead and put it over on the right hand side and put the main on the left hand side. Let's hope they don't leak everywhere. So apparently they make indexing washers which have a different thickness, so your shit doesn't end up backwards like this. Let's see where this one ends up. So that main ended up all right. I'll pull this out and see if I have a copper washer maybe that can go under there and get the handle kind of on the correct side. Give that a shot. And it's a little better. I was going to originally try to start this with some sort of rigged up fuel system, but I don't have anything to rig that up with. And I don't know when I'll get to refinish this tank, so you know what, it may just live like this for a while. There wasn't a bolt in the front when I got it. So I guess for now, it's just going to live with one on the back. I can probably shove one through the front. I don't know that I have one that's long enough. My favorite shopping place, Amazon. I've got a 1/4-inch fuel hose. It's likely all I'm going to need. And came with some clamps, which I think will work better than the worm and groove clamps. So basically, one petcock goes to one carburetor. There's a balance tube between them, and the other goes to the other one. So let me see if we can get this plumbed up. That should work. I'm not really sure how this is supposed to go or what this is supposed to look like. So this may have to get redone in the future. Our next step will be we'll put fuel in it and see if it all runs out. Have to fix our government safe fuel can first. So I transferred some fuel into a gas can that the government deemed they need to protect ourselves from our gas cans. So we'll put some in with this and see what happens. It may not have been enough to get up to the petcocks. This is ethanol free, by the way. All right, I don't see anything pouring out, so far that's a success. I did get some new spark plugs. We'll have to take the resistors off of them. I would normally put anti-seize on here, but I've been blistered in videos for doing that, saying I don't need to, so what the heck. We'll try without. I'll likely need new spark plug wires at some point too, but this will be good enough for now. Or maybe not. Oh, the little metal clip in there is gone. Yeah, we'll definitely need one. So that clip is there, it was just twisted in the wrong spot, so now it should click when it goes on. So that should hold. And I guess it's monsoon season here too. That one looks like it's in there. All right. So we haven't had any fuel pour out. I'm hoping there's enough in there. Oil's full. So this doesn't have chokes. It has a little tickler, and this pushes down the float and basically just lets the float fill up higher than it should and gas go into the carburetor. So we'll give that a little shot. Let's just go for broke and see what happens. Key on. Let's make sure we have compression. Sounds like compression. Let's see if we have spark. Hit spark tester and verify we have spark still. We did before. It has spark. We can verify that by turning the switch off. And we don't. So I guess we suspect fuel. We don't have fuel. I pulled the cap on the other side and nothing came out. I think as soon as I started opening that, I should have fuel pouring out. I have the main on. Let me turn the reserve on up here. It's possible that it's not full enough to be high enough on the main. So I shut this petcock back off because it's leaking internally, but I did have some fuel come out on the other side when I opened the drain, and this one's wet too, so maybe it just took it a while to get themselves full. Let's see. So maybe we have fuel now. I pulled the spark plug and we're clearly not getting fuel there, so we went and got some more fuel. Let's see if we can't pour it all over the place. It's one way to remove the paint. See if we're getting any fuel now. Still nothing from this petcock, but it should flow from the other side over here. I blew through these things, blew carb cleaner through them. You'd think they would flow. I expect a little more than that. It's better than we had. Don't try that at home. Turn that back on and we'll just let it sit here for a minute and maybe it'll fill everything up. So that sat there a few minutes. Let's see if it filled the choke bowl up enough to run this time. I guess it did. Not sure what it's supposed to sound like. It doesn't sound too bad. That's the neutral light, so all the other ones are out.
think this throttle cable's a little jacked up on this side. I need to work on rerouting that a little bit. I think I'll pull this tank off and try to get these throttle cables routed a little better so they're not hanging up.